Welcome back, guys. This is Cody with Wranglerstar. This video is going to come about, or is coming about, because of there's so many requests from subscribers. I'm going to do the video for that reason, and the topic I'm going to cover on this is what, how do I choose a good EDC knife? There is so much information out there. There's so many opinions and so many people who think that have an idea that this is the knife, or this is the knife, or what have you. I'm going to cut through all of that Bravo Sierra, as Gordon Liddy's so fond of saying, and get right to the point. First off, I'm going to go ahead and authorize you guys, if you're sitting on the fence, to pay $150 for a knife. I know there's going to be 100 guys that roll into this video and say, hey, there's no difference between a $30 Kershaw and a $150 Benchmade, and you're throwing money away. I beg to differ. There is a difference. Can a $30 Kershaw or a buck or whatever, take your choice, those lower priced knives, can they fill a roll? Yeah, they can fill a roll. And for a lot of guys that don't really put hard use or thump on knives, they might work just fine for many years. I personally have not had that experience. So what you're going to get from this video is you're going to get a guy who has bought these knives and has used them every day. No one uses knives harder than I do. I guarantee you that. There's nothing out there that puts. There's no one out there that can make that claim. Let me just leave it at that. So I know what I'm talking about, and I'm not shilling for other companies. There's been a lot of talk of that lately. I just got done watching Mad Bad Voodoo's video, and you can be sure that these knives were purchased with my own hard-earned money, and there's no special interests, or I have no master to please. I guarantee you that. So let's talk about this cheaper knives, because I tried to go that route too. I've said before that I've owned, I think, 5 Benchmades, and I've lost the first 4, and it was difficult for me to buy another one after losing 3 or 4. I can't remember. It was too many. So I went. Here's just one example of many. I went with the what's this? A Buck Vantage. There's a lot of guys out there. A lot of talk about that on the internet. That's a great knife. However, I think I used it everyday carry for probably, I don't know, a couple weeks. And to make a long story short, problems with the blade, problems with locking up, problems with the liner. Sent it in for something. It came back. They didn't do anything with it. And essentially what it is I've got a liner lock, as you can see here. It's just, the knife just sucks. I don't care. I don't care what you say. It's not to the quality of a Benchmade. It's not. You cannot tell me that at $150 for the 940 Osborne versus, let's say, $38, $40 for the Buck, you can't tell me that all things are equal. There is a difference in material, in workmanship, in engineering, in design. And the way I look at it is, if I'm going to carry something day in and day out, I'm going to have my hands on this thing 20, 30 times a day. I want something that is tough, durable, it's not going to let me down, and something that I enjoy owning, something I enjoy handling, something that gives me pleasure, something that every time I look at it and take it out at night, that I admire the craftsmanship, I admire the materials, I admire the thought that went into it. I don't experience that with a Buck. Let's set aside the quality issues and the design issues, and just look at it from an aesthetic point of view and a touchy-feely point of view. It's not there for me. I don't like the plastic handles, and that's why I don't carry a Griptilian. If they would make Benchmade would make a Griptilian with a decent handle and not that cheap-feeling plastic, I would carry that knife. I've carried that knife. I've owned a couple of them, but I cannot get over that feel. I just don't. I don't like it. It makes a difference to me. So that's why I don't carry it. If you can get past that and that doesn't bother you, that's fine. But it bothers me. So let's just rule out the $30 knives. And in regards to Kershaw knives, I know they make some decent knives, but you know what? I tell everybody I talk to, when we're talking about knives, Kershaw should do themselves a favor and pick a couple of guys that have a clue, and before they introduce knives, when they're picking their colors and their finishes and their scales, because whoever's doing it is not getting it right. I mean, what's the deal with the pocket clip on that Skyline? I mean, I had one of those and I couldn't keep the knife because the pocket clip was so it didn't fit with the knife. It was such a goofy looking pocket clip, it bothered me. You know, those things matter. Especially for my primary knife that I'm carrying all the time. It matters to me. It matters how it looks, it matters how it feels, as well as it functions. So, yeah, Kershaw makes a lot of knives. They're priced really well, but then again, you know, you cannot tell me that Benchmade is making $110, $120 more a knife, all things being equal, because all things are not being equal. Or Spyderco for that example. So you're going to get what you pay for. So if you're sitting on the fence, having a hard time pulling the trigger on a $100 plus knife, tell your wife that it's Wranglerstar approved, and you get my permission to go ahead and do it, because there is a difference. And if you don't lose it, you'll forget that money that you spent 100 times over. So let's get to the two knives. Why these two knives? Why have I picked these two knives? Well, I think it goes without arguing at this particular time that the two leaders in knife manufacturing, we're not talking about the custom market, but really, really high-end production knives, are Benchmade and Spyderco. Yeah, there's Buck, yeah, there's Kershaw, we spoke to all that stuff. It doesn't go for me. So this is my video, my channel, and I'm only going to do videos, and I'm only going to buy things that turn me on and that I like. So let's stick with that right now. In my opinion, Benchmade and Spyderco are right up there. I'm not going to go into the custom knives and all that, but I'll tell you what, you know, in all honesty, for all you knife snobs, you would be hard-pressed to find a fit and finish better than a premium Spyderco, and this is a Taiwan-made Spyderco, or a Benchmade. You would be hard-pressed. Really. I mean, just go look at that new Benchmade Emissary. I mean, put your hands on that. I mean, you know, talk about a thing of beauty. That's a production knife that you can buy for $150. But what we're talking about here is EDC knives, and EDC knives that are going to be able to, let's call them, oh, I don't know, knives that can withstand extreme conditions, or let's call them extreme duty EDC knives, just to get that out there. As you can see, my 940 has lots of legitimate wear here, years of it, and from tightening screws to prying off paint can lids to cutting, I mean, you name it, anything that could possibly need to be doing. You know, I have logged with this knife, you know, used it for chainsaw repairs, I mean, everything, and I love the knife. What I don't like about it is the knife is not a good cutter. It's just not super sharp, and I find myself, you know, with my work, I need something that it's really sharp. I cut a lot of cardboard boxes and paper and such, and this is a great knife for prying. I mean, just look at the strength of the tip there, how thick it is, the thickness of it, and I'll tell you, I mean, I have bent and tweaked and pried on this thing to the point where I just knew it was going to go. Is a knife supposed to be used for that? No, it's not. But we're talking about real world here. You know, when you're standing on your head and you're underneath your counter and water's dripping on your face and you're trying to do a plumbing repair, and this is the tool that you have to try to get the misery, to stop the misery, you're going to grab it and you're going to use it. That's just the way it is. So yeah, but even with that being said, everything that I've ever done with it, no wobble, no issues, just rock solid, the 940 Osborne, and I think that it testifies to that fact that it's still in the lineup. You know, this knife has been around for years, and I was just looking at the 2012 Benchmade catalog, and it's still in there. So excellent knife. So these two knives are very different. So I have that. I love the aspect of the toughness, the ergonomics of the thing just go without saying. The axis lock, I mean, just a fabulous tool, and not only that, but a tool that is such a pleasure to own. Even after all the years I've carried it, I take this thing out and I just marvel at it. I just enjoy the lines of it, the fit and finish of it, the durability of it, the materials. It's just excellent, excellent. So if it's so good, Wranglerstar, then why why are we doing this video? Why a comparison? Because it's not a great cutter. I've sharpened this myself and with varying success, and sent it into Benchmade. And even after it came back from Benchmade, they put their grind and it was relatively sharp, but it was not sharp enough, just not sharp enough to do the work I need to do, cutting cardboard, a lot of cardboard and paper. So I start looking for something different. I hate to give up this knife, I hate to quit carrying it, but I need a sharper knife, just the only way around it. So I start thinking about that, and how do I get a sharp knife that's going to be as strong and durable as the 940? Because I know that I'm going to be using it for more than just cutting. All right, so what do we do? So I ordered the what was it? The Emerson, and you guys all know about that. That was a huge, ridiculously bad knife. Sent that back, so I keep looking, and I put some more thought into it, and I thought, well, my kitchen knives, those are really sharp and good cutters. And I, how about we turn the ringer off here? All right. Kitchen knives. So, what is it about those that make them so sharp and they cut so well? Well, it's the grind. The kitchen knife is long and thick, as well, full flat ground. Like these here. And Spyderco has really keyed into that and have been producing almost the majority of their knives, their most popular knives, are available in this grind, because I think people are I think knives are just kind of going the wrong direction. I think that they're going too much to the tactical, especially the custom knife makers. When I look at them, they're these huge, big, clunky things. I mean, you could pry the lid off of a wooden crate with them, but that's not what I need it for. I need something that's slimmer and more comfortable to carry. I want something that's small and agile and athletic, something that I can peel an apple with, or open a paint can with, but I want it to be sharp and I want it to be strong. So I don't want one of those giant, clunky tactical knives. I'm just so thick of that. Yeah, they're too thick, right? I'm so sick of that. So where does that leave us? What are we talking about here? This video, I don't have any format. I'm not going to edit it or go anywhere. I just want to have this conversation like I would with a friend, and I'm going to speak as what comes into my mind. Do I need to go over all the details of the knives? No, I don't think so. But one thing I remember, though, when I was kind of looking at some Spydercos a few years ago, and I picked some up, and they were some of the knives that didn't have an internal liner, and I grabbed it, and I could just feel, if I would have wanted to, I could have snapped the blade, could have snapped the mechanism there, the pivot point. It just wasn't very strong. Be fine for just cutting, but for talking about extreme duty knives, no way, it would have never lasted. So it kind of turned me off on Spyderco. I just kind of thought that they were all that way. But I got to doing some more reading and checking around, and I'm really digging the direction that Spyderco is going. I like the way that they're grinding their blades, and this particular knife, the Sage. This is the Sage series this is the carbon fiber. There's 4 of them out. They come with different handles and different locks. I chose this one just because I think it was the cheapest one. And I thought the carbon fiber looked kind of cool. But it has full liners in it. And I think that's mandatory. Are these the only 2 knives out there? No, they're not. But I'll tell you what, I can save you a lot of trouble. I did a lot of digging around and a lot of looking. Excuse me, I have a terrible cold. And I think this is the ideal size. The 3-inch, the 3.5 inch is pretty nice. The Benchmade goes a little bit longer, but it seems to be fine. It's kind of a slight design. My only beef with this knife is you just cannot get it sharp to the level of this. Even when it comes from Benchmade. So you want a sharper knife. That's why I went with the Spyderco. But I'll tell you what, after carrying this knife now and using it a lot for work and for the last couple weeks, man, I dig on it. I dig on everything about it. Let's just set this aside here. Let's talk about this. Maybe I'm a little bit, maybe this is newer for me, so I'm more excited about this. So the fit and finish on this thing it's gorgeous. This carbon fiber, I can't get into all the details. Let's just get to the one thing I got to tell you about it, though, is this. It's got a liner lock and it's got a ball detent in it. What that means is there's just like a little ball bearing set in there. It has the most pleasing click. I find myself just sitting at home when I'm getting ready for bed or driving in the car, just Can you hear that? Oh, the heater's turned on. It's got this double click on the detent ball there. It comes off the blade and then again, so it clicks twice. It just is so pleasing. I just love the sound of it. I love this knife. It is so beautiful. I love the carbon fiber. One thing I've noticed, I've used the Benchmade for years, so I know that knife really well. That was difficult with this is it's kind of difficult to deploy with gloves on. And that's something that it's cold up here, I'm always wearing leather gloves, and it's always been kind of a challenge for me to get that open. What I finally end up doing is just pulling the axis lock and flipping it out. The knife is so worn and so smooth that you can open it that way with a little bit of practice. But the Spyderco, with this big deployment hole, with your big old fat thumb with leather gloves on, it just slips in there so nice, very nice. So it opens better than the 940, or easier, I would say. Yeah, definitely easier. I don't feel like I'm going to cut myself when I open the Spyderco, but it doesn't close as well. This is a little bit clunky and a little bit awkward. And yeah, maybe it's just that I've only been using it for a while, but I've used a lot of knives with liner locks, from whether it was the Skyline or the Buck. It's essentially the same thing. So I don't think that's the issue. It's just a little bit more awkward. I think that axis lock, when you open it, it's so easy to close because you can pull that down. I can't tell you what, I really can't tell you which one I would recommend. Which one I would recommend. I could tell you, it's easy, the easy decision. Here's the deal: if you want a knife that you can tighten screws with, that you can pry paint cans off, that you can stand on, you can pry with, and really put a lot of abuse to, especially at the tip area. I'm not talking about. Well, I don't really know about the Spyderco in here, but I can tell you that in here, the lockup, the mechanism, it is tough. And the tip, look at how thick. See how thick that is? And I'm not saying that's better than the Spyderco, but it's different. This is a true cutter. This is a knife you can get. I think you can get sharper than the Benchmade. So how much cutting you do versus how much prying you do. My best friend Zen was over here and visiting us, and he's got the Benchmade McHenry and Williams. I think we originally bought one together. I think he's had it for over 10 years. And as I've said before, my sister nicknamed him the Ruiner because he's so hard on everything. He breaks everything, and he's been unable to break that knife. Every time I see him, I say, "Let me see your knife." I took it into Benchmade because I lived close by there, my previous place, a year or two ago. Because the scales were falling off. Because what he'd done is he'd used the back of it to open beer bottles for 10 years, and it actually wore all that G10 or whatever it was away. And it wasn't the knife's fault; it just was abuse. I took it in there. Benchmade rebuilt it 100%, sharpened it, came back good as new. It's just fantastic. So if he can't break a Benchmade, then that's all there needs to be said. Trust me, it's Ruiner approved. So, and I'll testify that. I'm not too far behind him. I'm pretty hard on equipment too. So back to the decision, how do I make a decision? Well, both of them are aesthetically pleasing. They're both of them are a joy to own. You'll just love just to hold it and look at it, and just love to own it. They're beautiful. Just beautiful, both of them. However, if you're more of a prior type of guy and a screw tightener and using it for wedging and things, obviously this is going to be a stronger blade for you. If you need more cutting performance and to be able to have a knife that's really sharp, and you're cutting a lot of cardboard, because just look at the taper. Your taper is so long on this leaf style design versus here that there's just going to be more resistance. There is no way around it. So if you want a cutter, then go with the Spyderco. If you want a prior, I think maybe go with the with the Benchmade. Pocket clips, they're both excellent. I think that some of the Benchmades, the Benchmades that I lost, the reason I lost them was because I was in the woods going cross country through the bushes, and the bushes hook on these clips and lift them out. I don't think it was really an issue with the clip. I think that I need to be in that. If you find yourself in that environment, don't pocket clip the knife. Just slide it in your pocket and use the clip when you're back out of those bushes. So I don't think there's any way around that. So I think it carries deep enough. I do like the way that this one carried. I even in the bushes, I think that this one seemed to be really good. Well, maybe it's just the fact that if you have a $30 knife, you'll never lose it. It's just the way it is. $150 knife, then you will. So clips. The Benchmade clip is excellent. I like this wire clip. I'm digging on that. It's very nice. Problem with it though is I hate painted blades. You know, I kind of got in a hurry when I got this one, and I should have just went for the metal blade. But you can see what happens to them. They just don't look good after a while. The paint wears off and they look kind of shabby. But I don't know. Maybe you don't care about that. But if you want to buy a nice knife, it's nice. I think it's good that it should look nice. So. And you know, this is going to chip off. Already is. After carrying it for just a couple weeks, I can see coming off there, but no big deal. I take it off there and put it in my sand blaster, my glass bead cabinet, and take it off anyway. So I don't know. I'm not going to go to details, but I have been asked so many times, you know, hey, you got to do a review on the knife, and you know, why do you choose that? And you know, can you give me some help? You know, I don't know if I can give you any help in making a decision, but what I can give you is an unbiased opinion, and I'm not bought and paid for, and I can't say the same for, I think, a lot of people doing gear reviews or knife reviews. So what else is there? What else is there to talk about? I mean, if you want to get the details on this, you know, go. All these knives have been around a while. There's lots of stuff on YouTube, but man, you couldn't go wrong with these. You couldn't go wrong. They are beautiful, beautiful knives. Especially, well, I think I had the same feeling about the Osborne when I first bought it that I do about the Spyderco now. But man, I like this knife. What a beautiful knife. I'm not a collector. I just, you know, if you're using your own money to buy knives, you know, I know you gotta have, people have to have hobbies and things. Man, there's so many things that we all need to get our families prepared for who knows what, and dropping thousands of dollars a year just to have multiple knives just for no other reason than just to collect them, to me is just not a wise investment of your money. So I'm about having nice things and things that work. And trust me, you know, I would love to have 50 Spydercos. I mean, who wouldn't? I would enjoy that. However, there are other things that I need. There are other tools that I need. So, yeah. So that's it. Sharpening. You know, sharpening seems like, man, it's a lot of guys struggle with that. I myself have struggled with that too. And one little piece of advice I'll give you on sharpening is I recently got one of those. Well, let me grab it here. Hold on. Give me 1 second. So I recently got one of these Spyderco triangle sharp maker, and I feel like a really a Spyderco homer here, but and I love where the company's going and the stuff they're putting out is just so nice. I just think that they're listening to people, their people's input, and giving people what they're asking for. And when I look, you know, I love Benchmade. It's a local Oregon company here, and I love what they stand for, and they make great products. But when I look through the catalog, I look through both of them, through the Spyderco catalog, and I look through the Benchmade at the same time. And it seems like Spyderco is just so forward thinking, and becoming so innovative with their designs and all this interesting stuff that's really cool. Where Benchmade, it seems like it just seems like it's getting old-fashioned to me. There's very few of their new designs that I could really say that I would like to have. You know, I like that triage knife that they have. I love that emissary. But apart from that, you know, looking at their catalog, I just don't like where they're going. I'm just tired of these big, fat, thick, clunky blades that don't cut very well. I mean, it's just me. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm buying into the hype of the latest, greatest thing. But man, I do like the direction Spyderco's going. Do yourself a favor if you've really struggled with knife sharpeners and having, you know, your kitchen knives not sharp. Man, this is an awesome tool. This is their Sharp Maker. I used this. I got this online, and my kitchen knives were in terrible shape. My sister came over and admonished me for what bad condition the knives were in. So I ordered this up because I saw some good reviews on it. And man, in one evening, I had those things shaving sharp, all of them, and they were in terrible condition. You know, just bouncing around in the drawer and really not very taken care of very well. Man, this thing has been excellent. Just excellent. I enjoy sharpening knives. I always ask anyone that comes over, hey, give me your knife, you know, break this out and sharpen up the knives on it. Lots of videos. Cutlery Lover did a video on this. I think go over and check him out if you want the details. But I don't know, 40-50 bucks. Man, this will really solve your knife problems. It is an excellent product. I'm just really stoked about it. It's going to work for pretty much everything. You've got your 30 degree and your 40 degree back bevel, and if you don't know what all that means, which I didn't until I bought this thing, so I'm not trying to come off as a knife smarty, but Sal Glesser, the owner of Spyderco, I think if I've heard right, this is the first product that he developed before he even did knives, and it comes with a DVD, kind of an infomercial type of deal, where he shows how to use this and how to sharpen lots of other things like potato peelers and one thing I never thought about sharpening was side cutters. He had a little, just a little bit on there using, I'm missing a couple of the blade or the stones here, but by taking one of these stones and sharpening side cutters, I use Snap-on tools, and I would just use my side cutters until they were about worn out, and then I would take them in and get a new pair. Man, I watched that video that Sal put on there, and I took the thing and I did it just like he showed me, and I couldn't believe the difference. They were just like new again, and it just is nice, you know, because it's kind of wasteful to throw away a good tool that the only reason that you're getting rid of it is because it won't cut anymore, when it can be fixed so easily. So there's lots of different applications for this thing, but man, I can tell you that it's the best knife sharpener that I've ever used, and I've used a lot of them, and none of them have really been very good. You know, it's not going to work. You're not going to want to use something for that for like when you're for your Scandinavian type grinds. For any of you guys that have bushcraft knives, you know, ooh, that's sharp. You know, refer back to the Japanese Waterstone for something like that. You don't want to put another bevel on this, but for your regular EDC knives and kitchen knives, it's great, just great, great product, and good job on that, Sal. I'm just really into Spyderco right now. I like the direction they're going. So what are we? 28 minutes into this? Unbelievable. What else is there to talk about? Anything else? Yeah, save your pennies. If you're carrying around if you haven't owned one of these Benchmades or one of these nicer Spydercos, I don't know about the cheaper line of Spydercos, the Tenacious and I don't know all the names of those. I can't speak to those because I've never had one. But this knife is top notch, and that click. Now the heater's off. Can you hear that? That's my favorite new sound. I just love it. What a nice, beautiful knife. Nice grip on it. Time will tell the durability of it, but I don't think it's going to be as tough as the Osborne, but I think we covered that already. So that's it. That's my viewer requested or subscriber requested knife view. If there's anyone still around after 29 minutes of me going on and on about this, I'll be surprised. But you asked for it and you got it. So that's my take on it. If you disagree, start your own channel and make some videos and put your take up there. But this is my take, and unbiased. So if you get one of these knives and you like it, or if you don't like it, let me know. I'll be interested to hear. But I can assure you that that you will. Money well spent. Beautiful, beautiful tools, and just a pleasure to own. I don't know if I had to give one up. Let's close with that. If I had, let's say I can have only one, and I can't, and I've got to keep it. Let's say I've got to have one knife for the next 5 years here, and I've got to make a decision. You know, what's it going to be? And I got to really fight my desire to pick the Spyderco because it's new. And I couldn't get another one, and I needed to really count on it. Man, that's a hard decision. It's a hard decision. I'd take the Benchmade. With what I've seen from the durability of this Osborne, and with the fact that my friend the Ruiner can't break his McHenry, man, that says all there is to say. Sorry, I'd have to take the Osborne, to be completely honest with you. That's it. So that's my take. So thanks for watching, guys. And I've been a little slow with the video. There's been a couple reasons for that. Yeah, there is a couple other things I want to talk about. First off, I broke my camera lens, and so I was having some trouble with that. And then I lost a piece to my tripod, and then my video editing software quit working, and then I had to. I can't seem to get that working properly, and it's just this trifecta of video issues that I just haven't been motivated and inspired to do videos, because I think, oh yeah, I should do a video on that, but then oh well, I got the tripod problem, I got the camera problem, so I'm getting that sorted out. So hopefully I'll have that taken care of in the next week or so, and I can be a little bit more prolific. In regards to second most, well, probably the most asked question is regarding the Bible study. In the previous video, I was hoping, what I meant to say was, when I did that video, was that I was considering doing it. It was going to kind of hinge and depend on how much interest there was. Well, there's been a ton of interest, and I haven't got back to you guys that have expressed interest, but I have noted that, and I'm just trying to figure out if I can do it. I'm not going to do it if I can't do a good job, and it takes a lot of preparation for me, and it's hard for me. It's hard for me to get in front of the camera and do that, and I am not a trained religious teacher or a minister by any means, but you know, I guess I've got to look at it as what I can share is what God's done for me, and that. The life, how He's changed my life and turned me around. And if you could experience that, that's all I'd hope to get out of it. And if there's something else, then that would just be a bonus. So I'm going to pray about that. I'm talking to God about that right now, and I'm talking to my wife about it. And you know, it's a commitment not only for that, but it takes time away from my family too. So I've got to consider all that. But I do desire in my heart to do it. I just got to be realistic, and I want to do it. I want to do it well. I was not overly happy with the way the last one went, and I didn't probably put as much time in preparation as I could have, and I just don't want to repeat that. So I'd like it to do all things as good as I can. So I haven't ruled it out. I'm kind of leaning on it happening. I think it will happen. So just give me a little more time to think on that and exactly how I want to do it. So that's where we're at with that. So 35 minutes. This is probably a record for my videos. That's it. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and hope it gives you some insight. And pull the trigger on one of these knives. Man, they are really nice, really nice. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.